Hey everybody, it's Julie Nolan. Welcome to another Julie Nolan show. I don't know if you realize it, but April is Autism Awareness Month, and I don't know if I've ever shared with you, but my family is affected by autism. So I originally was going to have this whole show devoted just to that one disorder, but as I think it's true for a lot of families, there's a lot of programs out there that address not just children with autism, but children with a lot of different things. So tonight I'm going to be focusing on two programs. One's called Beyond the Label. I love that title, Beyond the Label. And the other one is called Ability Plus. And I have a clip of a luncheon, the Melrose Rotary Lunch, where these students from Beyond the Label are actually working at the lunch and learning some life skills. So take a look. Welcome back. I have here Buck Merrill and Jen Hodak. They run the Beyond the Label program. It's also called Postgrad, correct?
Yeah,
okay.
Almost Postgrads.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the program and who's in it.
Sure. Basically, our program is for students that are out of high school with disabilities from the ages of 19 to 21.
Okay.
And our program is vocationally based, meaning that we spend all our days working on building job skills and life skills for our students. So rather than, say, going to their core classes of history, music, art, we spend our time working on things that they need to do in the community, like grocery shopping, how to make a list, how to go grocery shopping, and then they also spend their time working on building job skills. We do a variety of jobs all around in and out Melrose with different abilities and stuff like that.
Now, like I said, we did the Rotary Lunch. What are some of the other things that you guys take them out to do? Obviously, they were learning, you know, sort of a waitress and waitering kind of aspect. What are some of the other things?
Well, Buck and I kind of split up the jobs based on what the both of us know and can do well.
Yep.
And I take a lot of the kids out to things like office jobs. We work at the elementary school. We work at the early childhood center, and we go in and we the teachers with the preschoolers and also do the office work there. We do things besides Rotary. We do some work for different senior centers around the area. So we go in and we'll set up for the lunches at the senior centers and clear for them.
And do you ever feel that there are times when certain students, you might be a little nervous about them doing, and then they surprise you? Like they'll go in, like maybe to an office, you're not sure if that setting would be right for them, and, and all of a sudden they, you know, get the routine and like it. Because I noticed at the lunch, the thing that struck me was how comfortable they all were coming in. They clearly knew what they were going to be doing there. They seemed safe. They seemed happy. I don't know how long you guys have been doing that particular thing, but that's what I noticed.
Yeah, that's one of the things we work on when we're back in the classroom is if we know a student's going out to a job. For instance, we have one student who cleans an office over in Winchester, and we practice the things that he's going to do at the job before we even go to the job. So you'll see him, if you walk into our classroom, you'll see him working the Swifter all around the classroom because he Swifts the office hardwood floors. You'll see him vacuuming. So we try to build the skills in the classroom that they're going to take out at the job, so that way when they get to the jobs, they have a sense of familiarity and comfort. And that it helps a lot because the student knows what they expected of them. They know that they can go out there and be successful at it because they've already done it and they have practice with it.
With one of my children, I definitely feel that I have to sort of do some dry runs before you know, and you learn the hard way.
There are definitely some jobs where we've taken different students to that we thought would work really well and didn't. And then some jobs where we've taken students who we thought, you know, this may not be a good fit, but we've got to get somebody in there today. And it turned out that that was the job for them. So it's kind of fun. That's the fun part that we like about
sort of trial and error.
Yeah, there's definitely a trial and error.
The question was, as they're starting to age out, do you then like work on a resume with them, or do they try to? Okay, so what happens then?
Yep. Well, we've worked with all of our kids on making resumes for themselves and really personalizing those resumes and making sure that we hit on the things that they would like to do after the program, as well as showing the breadth of what they have accomplished and what they have learned. Because that's really what we are aiming to do, is get them set up in all the different skills that they can possibly have under their belt, so that they've got the best chance they have after our program.
Exactly. And how much, so do they have a regular school day? Is it 8:30 to 2:30?
We are actually Monday through Friday, 8 to 4.
8 to 4.
Yep.
Okay,
8 to 4.
So
we've
how
got an
much
extended day.
of the day is out of the classroom?
Oh,
It all really depends on day to day. Each student has like a certain amount of jobs, and some days a student could be out 6 hours working and 2 hours in the classroom. And the next day he could be 6 hours in the classroom practicing his skills and 2 hours out. It all depends really on who the student is, what their jobs are, and what day of the week it is.
And is that up to you guys to some degree, or is it in conjunction with the company that you?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
We go to the company, and usually when we meet a new employer, we go the first couple times, check it out. They get to meet some of the students. We try to match up who's the best fit, and then we usually ask, what days are best for you at what times, and then we kind of look at the student schedule and we can move some things around. So we really work really close with the employer, trying to set up like what works best for them and what works best for us.
Right.
We're very flexible.
Yeah, no, that's nice, and it's nice for the companies too to have that flexibility. I think the other thing too, when you were saying they're in the classroom, but they're not necessarily learning history and all that stuff.
Right.
I know, because it's in my life, that I think you said it's more like maybe therapies. Is that what they're getting in the classroom? Maybe speech or?
We have a speech therapist and an occupational therapist that come into the room, as well as a psychologist that come in and work with us, and kind of, they may not work with everybody. Our speech therapist does a group twice a week that we work on using appropriate levels of speech, talking louder, talking softer. Gauging if there's a problem that you've had either at school or out in your work week. We can write down all the letters, and we have this check-in group that we use, and she comes in and she teaches people if this is a big problem or if this is a little problem.
That's great.
So our kids have really learned a lot about keeping cool and having
because the work environment for all of us can be, we all have our days, right? So it must be hard for them to express that. So this helps them sort of narrow it down. Like that was not a big deal, you fixed it, and that one maybe is a bigger one to work on.
Exactly.
That's amazing. That's a great program.
So with the therapy supplementing teaching the life skills in the classroom. If we work on math, it's more money skills, or if you get paid $10 an hour and you work 20 hours a week, something like that. So really teaching them the skills that they're going to need to develop for hopefully living independently, living with their parents, but
helping, growing up, maybe doing the grocery shopping or picking up the cleaning or whatever, and that kind of thing.
Counting change back. We go get a drink every Thursday, after school, and we take the kids individually, and they each go up and pay for their own drinks, or if they want to eat something. We always work with that money math with them. So
that's a great thing, because I think again, it's you're not sure what you're going to do after high school. I'm sure there was a lot of kids years ago that it was just a gap. They weren't going to go straight to college. And the other thing too, and I find this because I have two sons, my oldest son who goes to Hoover School, he finds a lot of the classes and the topics that they talk about. I think we all like to learn things that we think we're gonna bring into our lives. I know it's required for us to learn, but I think they should bring in more life skills in regular school.
Definitely. It's very helpful.
I'm noticing that my youngest son, who gets more of this type of program, Frank is going to kill me on that. I shouldn't say anymore. But anyway, it just seems like I see that he's chipping away at some of those skills and waiting in line a little bit more patiently and all that kind of stuff. So now, do you? So does it go year round?
We work the traditional school year, and then we have a 6 or 7, I think it's 6-week summer program. So that way the students can maintain and keep up with their jobs, they can maintain and keep up with their skills. The theory behind that being, if there's a big gap between the end of the school year and the start of the next school year, then they're going to follow that routine for their jobs and their skills. So we try to go out and do as many jobs as possible during the summer as well.
So it's 8 to 4, the 6 weeks.
6 weeks. I think it's actually 8 to 2 during the summertime.
Okay.
Give them a little break.
Right? Do they ever get a
It
field
is
trip?
summer
Do they go to
after
the
all.
beach?
Yeah. That's the great thing about the summer
Yeah.
program is on days they're not working, we're grouped together with another summer program.
Oh,
So they
nice.
do get to go on some of the field trips and some of the social aspects of intermixing with people and whatnot. So it's great.
Now, what's the name of that group? Do you know that you hook up with?
Oh, you know,
It's
the
fine.
high
We'll
schoolers.
find out.
Yeah.
We'll scroll it underneath.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
scroll it because that's good to know.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, this sounds great.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have 6 now. You may get. You don't know.
We don't know.
Yep,
Yeah,
it all
changes.
depends.
Last year we got 2 new ones right before the school started. The day before school started, they came into the program and we were like, oh, okay. So yeah, they do a little bit of reshuffling. So.
And do you guys have a max that just the 2 of you can handle? You'd have to get another job coach if.
You know, we haven't really talked about that just because we kind of foresee the people who are coming from the high school.
Yep.
And we may get people moving in from out of district or something like that, but we're very go with the flow. So
Yeah.
if we were to
Yeah.
expand to the point where we needed another job coach,
I'm
that
sure
would
we
be
would.
up to
Now, how long
administration.
have you guys been
Yep.
doing this?
Well, here, I've been here since October.
Okay.
And before that, I worked in Minnesota. I
Wow.
worked for another group home residence.
Okay.
Where I worked as direct care and as a manager for an independent living facility. So I've
Okay.
been in this field for about 4 years now.
Nice. And you?
I've been in education for 4 years. I was a social studies teacher for 2 years in a high school, and then in this program I started last summer actually.
Okay.
So
I like
I'm
the
just
title,
coming on
job
just,
coach.
just
Yeah.
beyond just almost a year now.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
job coach
Yeah.
title is great because it's awesome. We get to go out in the community.
Yeah.
We get to it's a much more hands-on type
Yep.
role, and I love the coaching aspect, the title of it, because it's fun. We get to coach the kids at their job and coach them in the classroom. So it's
Yeah.
That's
It's a
exactly
lot
it.
of fun.
That's why I was saying I love the beyond the label title because having gone through a diagnosis situation in my own family, that can be difficult because you look at your child as a unique
Right.
creation, and the label can sometimes be difficult, even though it's necessary to get them help. But I just love that title, like it's
Right.
beyond the label.
Yeah.
We're doing all sorts of
Yes,
things. We're doing
exactly.
landscaping.
Yeah.
We're at a restaurant.
Right.
We're living our lives
Right.
at the best
Right.
level we can.
Well, and I think so often people look at people who have been diagnosed and they get stuck with this person has autism or this person has XYZ.
Boom. Yeah.
And that's not what it is. This is a person who is living with X, Y, or Z. And, it really is. It's beyond the label. Our kids are so much more than just what people see of them.
And
Exactly.
that's
And
the
they
great, that's the great thing about our program is we don't look as our class is like 6 students together. We look as 6 individualized plans, one for
Right.
each student. So it's great. So we can, being a small group, we can really target some of the areas that they need help with. But everybody's so different that you can't just label them together. It's
Right.
You can't do it.
Right.
No, you can't. And getting back to that classroom setting, it wouldn't make sense
Right,
to
Right.
try and
absolutely.
teach something to
Exactly.
all of them when they
Right.
really have such different
Yep.
skill sets and,
Yep.
and that kind of thing.
That's the great thing about our
Exactly.
program. We have like the speech therapist in, and she's working with 1 or 2 students on one thing, and Jen's working with 1 or 2 students on another. So you can really get that individualized attention. It's
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed meeting them at the lunch.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
believe it or
great.
not, our time is up.
Okay.
So if you would, I'd love you to stay, because at the end of the show, we all get on the couch and we just sort of talk a little bit more about whatever we feel like talking about.
Okay,
so,
great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So hang in there,
Okay,
and we'll be
great.
right back. Thank you. Welcome back to the Julie Nolan Show. As I promised, we are going to talk about another program devoted to special needs, which is called Ability Plus, and it helps just about anyone learn how to ski. And I have a friend here with me, Alaine Breen, and she introduced me to this program a while back, and she agreed to come on the show. And she actually has a clip of her son, who has autism, going down the mountain. So take a look. Welcome back, everybody. I'm here with Alaine.
Hi,
Hello.
Julie. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad. So tell me all about this program.
Well, this program, we first started Ryan in this program probably 3 seasons. I think this was our 3rd season.
Okay.
And skiing was something that Paul and I had done way, way back in the day, hadn't done for a long time.
Right.
And we thought it would be a good thing for him to try. You know us, we'd get him out there trying everything.
Absolutely.
But he can usually participate fine with very little accommodation and most of this stuff, but for the safety aspects of skiing and the fact that we hadn't done it in so long, we thought that more of an adaptive type program would be
exactly
a better fit.
Exactly. And just to jump in for a second,
sure.
Because some children on the autism spectrum have a lot of, I just want to clarify this, have a lot of low tone.
Yep.
And so they're not always as capable of different things. But your son, I don't know if he has high tone, but he does seem to be pretty coordinated.
Right, all his physical stuff is fine. That being said, though, there are several children in the program with very low tone or mid-low tone, and they make whatever accommodations they need to make for them, and these kids ski.
Right.
So that's a little.
So it started with you and Paul loving to ski, not wanting to miss out in a way.
Yeah.
Because I've run into that with family.
One more thing that we thought he would maybe like to try.
Exactly. Exactly. So you found this program.
So we found this program, and like most other things that we have found over our journey here along the autism spectrum, I found out from another parent who participated in one of the other program locations. So we checked it out, and we always loved Mount Washington Valley up in New Hampshire. So there's a location at Attitash. So we just kind of picked that just because we like Attitash.
Okay.
And from the get-go, well, actually not from the very first time, but it started with him crying when he put his ski boots on and crying when we brought him outside and putting his skis on, right? I mean, how do you explain to a kid with some verbal challenges,
right?
Okay, here's some ski boots, let's put those on.
Right.
But by lunchtime that first day, he was like ready to go on the lift.
Right. And I think you bring up something else too, is that, I mean, a lot of kids cry, with something new. And I think sometimes, we're more devoted, like, no, we're you're gonna try this at least.
Exactly. Yeah. It's more like, no, you're doing it, and that's just how it is. And
now, did you have to call ahead of time? Or could you just, so you call and you say, we're coming on a certain day?
Right, because they will staff instructors based on student count, student need, student skill level, that kind of thing. So when Ryan first started, he was out there with 2 instructors, and as the day wore on, and these instructors are generally all volunteers.
Wow.
As the day wore on, we signed him up for a full day, so he did the morning with 2 instructors. By the afternoon, when some of the other students had gotten off the mountain, pretty much all the instructors were out there watching him. And like cheering and clapping, and there was all these adults around this learning hill.
Because it's almost like
Ryan.
a hidden talent.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
exactly. So it's exciting for them to see their students succeed.
Yeah.
And they love it as much as we do. So so that's sort of how we get started with it. So that first season, we just did we went up a couple of times. He did we did a couple of long weekends. The season after, he just really took off.
Yeah.
Totally independently skiing, like hitting harder trails and harder trails. So we went up more last season, spent a fortune on lodging. But it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good, right? We all know where all our extra money goes.
Yes, absolutely.
And so then this season, we ended up, we found a seasonal rental right across the street from the mountain.
Perfect.
So we're pretty much up there every weekend.
Yeah.
Ryan now is on double black diamonds. He's starting to race.
Oh my goodness.
He's got a whole little crew of typical friends. That, if he has a morning lesson and then his little friend crew is around, they'll just go off and ski all together like any other kids that age.
Well, I think that's the other thing, and you and I talked about this before, is that years and years ago, it just seemed like if a child had a diagnosis, and even in my own life, it felt for a while like, okay, I'll stay home with this one, you go with that.
Right.
And to find something that you're all going out to do, you just feel like you are a regular family.
Right.
You're doing
Yeah.
what everybody's doing.
Exactly.
And you're not feeling like you're missing anything.
Right. And if his little friends are around, he doesn't want anything to do with us.
Right.
Bye, Mom. Bye, Dad. See you later. Off they go.
And I'll take it a step further. I think sometimes you're even more, more excited and more emotional,
Right.
Because you didn't know if you
Right.
could do it. You know, you didn't just assume it. You tried it and you got him up there. And now you actually mentioned, so talk to me about some of the other more impaired people that you've seen
In the program.
In the program.
Right. And well, the program takes any child or adult with any disability of any kind, physical, cognitive, neurological. They have a large wounded warrior component as well. So,
Wow.
And one of the nice things for us too it's given us the opportunity to volunteer this season, and it's actually given Ryan the opportunity too to work on his leadership skills, and now that he can sort of model for some of these other students who are either just starting,
Right.
or who struggle a little bit more
Right.
with some of the aspects of skiing.
Right.
So, I mean, there are students that are paraplegic, there are students that are quadriplegic, there are students that are amputees, there are students that have cerebral palsy.
That's amazing.
And, you know, they have all sorts of equipment that these students can use as far as, you know, bi-skis, and there's a slider that almost is like a walker on skis with little outriggers that, you know.
So for some, they have some control over
Right.
it.
Right.
Is it almost like a big elastic or something that they?
What they do, all the equipment can be tethered. So
Okay.
a lot of times what will happen is, especially with a new student or a student that maybe has some physical challenges, but maybe not enough to need like a sit ski, what they'll do is they'll attach they call it an edgy wedgie, and it's a little piece that goes to the tip of the skis so that they can wedge or stay parallel and not wing out on the skis. And then to that, they can attach tethers. So you'll have an instructor in front,
Okay.
maybe blocking to make sure that, you know, because they're on beginner trails a lot of the times,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of other beginner skiers on beginner trails
yeah.
that maybe don't know what they're doing
yes.
either. So they might have an instructor block, and then they might have another instructor behind with the tethers to keep the speed in control,
Exactly.
or to help with steering. You
Right.
know, if a student might have like weakness on one side versus another, or they pronate or something like that.
Right.
So that helps, and they
Definitely
can,
building the confidence.
well,
as you-
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Because
That's
the
you
student
feel like you're doing it.
eventually forgets that there's somebody behind them hanging on, and you know, helping them
Right.
to steer a little bit maybe, or that kind of thing. Once they're out there and they're going,
They're not even thinking
they don't
about
even
it.
know this person back
When
there.
you were talking about crying, my father decided to teach us all how to ski.
Yeah.
And he found this little, it's more like a hill up in New Hampshire.
Yep.
And my sister and I were learning around the same time, and we're crying.
I was gonna say you were
And
crying.
well, I was crying, and it was one of those days where it was kind of warm, so you were in slush.
Yeah,
So you
oh,
just
yeah.
went, every time you
That's
fell,
not really
you were,
what you wanna do
you
the
were
first
wet,
time you're
you were
out.
cold, and you were miserable.
No.
So we're crying, and my mother, who wasn't skiing, screams like over like 20 people, Jim, let me take the girls in for hot chocolate and warm them up. And I'm like, oh, excellent,
Yeah.
right? And my father screams back, no, they're learning to ski. And same thing, but we did. We learned, you know what I
Right.
mean? We got
You
on
gotta
the
stick it out,
Yeah, you got
and- yeah.
because I wasn't gonna go back out.
Well, right, no, once you go in,
Yeah.
at that point in time,
Once you get the
you're
hot
not gonna go,
chocolate.
right, forget it. And it's the
So-
same thing, it's like, if you fall, you can't go in after you fall. You need
Yeah.
to get up and go
Yeah.
finish your run and do another one.
Absolutely.
And then you can go in.
Yeah, yeah.
know?
And I think too, when you push through that, you know, like my son Danny's been learning how to skate, and he initially didn't like it. Then he was
Right.
holding on to the
crates.
and now this year they asked me to get him a hockey stick because
Yeah.
they said he's getting bored with going around.
Right.
So I think it's it's more of an effort in the beginning
Oh,
to
sure.
kind of get them,
Get them-
especially like
right.
if you have a language situation or whatever,
Right.
or if they're crying. But then then
Right.
you're like, wow, no, now they actually like it. I'm
Right.
actually doing a nice thing.
Right, exactly. See, it's tough love, Julie.
I'm not mean.
No.
I'm a nice person.
Right, they'll thank us later.
Oh my goodness. So now when you say he's going to be racing, will that be with regular, typical?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is amazing.
So they were working on, they broke down the race components for him. So
Yep,
they,
yep.
Worked on, okay, here's what you have to do at the beginning of the race. Here's how you have to start, because there's like a rod they have to push to
Right,
start the clock.
right.
And how you push yourself out of that gate.
Fantastic.
And how you alternate and go and turn, and
Yeah.
how to follow. Say if somebody went in front of you, you can almost follow their
Yep,
track kind of
yep.
thing. and
So,
the finish
yeah.
line, which was a little bit of a challenge.
Speaking of finish line, I have to. We're at the finish line.
We're
all
see?
done.
I told you I could talk for hours about this.
Which is fantastic. Thank you. I'd love you to stay for another few minutes. We're going to hang out on the couch with Buck and Jen.
Sounds great.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back. I want to thank Buck and Jen and Alaine for being on our show tonight. We had so much fun talking about all the different things that are going on with special needs. It's so exciting, and it's not limiting, and it's beyond the label, as they say. I want to thank Buck as he is my very first male guest on the Julie Nolan Show.
Thank you. Very honored. Very honored. I'll have to come back for the 100th
Now,
show.
I'm sure you've watched all of my shows. I have no doubt you've seen all of my shows. Okay. So everybody gets a can of hairspray as a prize, but because you are a man, you get gel.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Styling.
I'll look good in this. Thank you.
You
very
will.
much.
You will. And there's some for
Thank
you.
you.
And there's some for you. I don't. Do you guys watch 30 Rock at all? Do you
Yes,
see that
Yes,
show?
love 30
absolutely.
Rock.
There's a line when Jack Donaghy says, hair movement is a sign of weakness.
So there we go.
So don't worry, because look, instant freeze.
Our hand's
I'm
not going to move
telling
with
you.
this.
Love it.
I did a road race, believe this or not, and hot rolled my hair and sprayed this to death.
Yeah.
And at the end, it was exactly the same. I
Oh
didn't
my
win.
gosh.
I was like the last person coming in, but I
Well,
had
that's
good
because you
hair.
were not
Yeah.
aerodynamic because your hair was too poofy.
Right,
Exactly.
but it, it was. I did not have any sign of weakness.
There you go.
There you
And
go.
it smells
There
great.
you go.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, I brought you a present.
I love presents. Oh, look at the purple.
I did try to coordinate because I have watched prior episodes of the Julie Nolan
Okay.
Show.
All right. All right. What did you get me? Oh my goodness, is it something for the set? Oh, don't tell
Well, it could be.
Okay.
You could have it up on the set if you wanted.
All right. I'm doing a terrible job getting this out of
I
the
know, and I
bag.
tried not to over tissue it.
Is there a problem here? Okay, here we go.
That is your official
Fantastic!
Ability Plus T-shirt.
That's
That's
great.
awesome.
Plus, yay!
That is great.
Fantastic. Yeah, I was asking Jen and Buck if your kids ever go skiing, but I don't know if you'd probably have to do it in a day trip,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Probably go up
Yeah.
early in the morning, but we could work something out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because
I mean-
maybe this program would
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Because it's not just at Attitash, right? Isn't it at different
It
places
is
too?
at Attitash and Wildcat in Mount Washington Valley and Mount Snow in Vermont.
Okay. Okay.
So, but they can arrange group trips and
Yeah.
Oh, great.
all that
We'll-
kind of
we'll have
stuff.
to look into
Yeah,
it.
that
That's
would
something
be
kids would love to do.
fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. It would be a nice thing, and maybe I'll glom on.
There you go.
I'll use it as a Julie Nolan exclusive.
Right.
Yeah.
AbilityPlus.org.
Right.
Right.
My husband would be like, wait a minute.
What are you doing now? What are you doing now?
Well, thank you so much, everybody. This was great.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I love
Another
Julie.
great show. Enjoy your hairspray and
There
gel.
we go.
Yes, thank you very
And,
much. Thanks
uh,
for
Watching for you
having me.
guys around town.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
We are around town.
Yeah, I actually
every
saw you
day.
downtown one time.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll have to wave now that I know you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for
definitely.
having us on.
Alrighty, take it easy. Bye-bye.